lot was the complex. It housed the library, the apothecary. I think there was even a swimming pool at some time. So we feel very blessed to be in this spot and honored. Today, we have a $5 minimum for drinks. We also have brunch. We have a vegan burrito from the West Village Market. We have vegan donuts that are delicious and awesome. You like the donuts? Good. And we also have fruit. Those plates are $10, and then you can come and see the price breakdown. But I'm excited to be hosting this along with Cam McQueen, who is the owner. We are excited about this partnership with
Tell them about our drinks.
Oh, right. How did I forget? So we have special cocktails for the whole crew. So please, let me see. Hold on, I'm going to tell you what they are. Bear with me. This is the benefits of technology.
I can tell you what most of them are.
You can?
Yeah, it's Jen and Kirby.
Jen and Kirby. This is so sad that I know this already. Sangria Aisha. And then, I don't remember Miriam's.
Hold on.
Mojito. Mojo. Oh. Mojo.
It's Miriam's Paloma Mojo, which is tequila, lime juice, grapefruit seltzer, and lime wedge. Then the Jen and Kirby is Tanqueray, grapefruit, a splash of pineapple, and a lime wedge. And then Sangria Aisha. Say it for me. Sangria Aisha, thank you. Organic, pure sangria with fruit. So please see our bartender. We are looking forward to serve you. And when you get done partying, please come and get some food. Thank you.
Thank you. I want to myself welcome you. I am Cliff Williams. I'm a co-producer and a video producer of the Asheville View, and I'd like to spend just maybe, hopefully 120 seconds telling you how we got to this place. And then I'm going to introduce you to the cast, and if you have questions that you would like to ask, they're going to say a few things about themselves, but if you have questions to ask, please ask those questions. I'm from Spartanburg, South Carolina. I am not native to Asheville. I am a mainstream white boy from the upstate of South Carolina. And if you look at the cast, you know, we're a bit different. This cast and crew of the Asheville View, we all come from different walks of life, cultures, backgrounds, education, etc. It's a real melting pot on this crew and cast, and I am pleased to be a part of this team. I have to say, in working with Aisha, the co-producer of this show as well, it's been a challenge, and I have so much to learn. As a mainstream white boy, I don't get it. I don't get Asheville. I have been coming to Asheville since I have been a child, climbing all these mountains. And Asheville, to me, especially if you're from the upstate of South Carolina, represents a bit of a different perspective. I'm going to go ahead and tell you right now. Is this show the Asheville View? Probably not. Probably not. There's no way.
Yes, it is.
Well, maybe. Okay, it's a philosophical discussion, okay? And I have learned in meeting people in Asheville, you have liberal thought, you have alternative thought, and all kinds of perspectives. And there's going to be some things coming up in shows starting Monday where it steps up a bit in passion and energy and humor, and some things that may be disrespectful from other perspectives, particularly in upstate South Carolina. And we're going to get some pushback, and I have already warned them. Aisha's in charge of the content, so it's all her fault. I'm just the guy behind the camera. Her husband, Raph, who's also part of our crew, is running the sound. He's our audio engineer. The rest of my crew could not make it here. Fess Shelton, he's the, if you go to the website, you'll see a bald man, very smoothly shaven. His skin looks better than mine. He's in Orlando, Florida today on another gig. He's a professional grip and professional light and camera operator. Jeff and Angie Durham, also part of the crew, they are camera people. They had a family emergency last night, so they couldn't make it. And Pamela Zwick, who is from Charlotte, North Carolina, is our makeup artist. Very good at what she does. She sent her regrets at not being able to make it. There is a long story of how the Asheville View got to where it is today. And we are still evolving. We are still learning and growing and changing as we go. As a talk show, none of us have ever done this before. And we're going to make some mistakes, and we're learning again as we go. If you go to the AshevilleView.com.
The AVLview.com.
Thank you. That's a story in itself. There are some blogs on that website, and I go into a little bit more into how we got to where we are at today. It's a bit of an interesting read. And there's a bit of a story to how Aisha came into this place. I am so proud to work her. She stretches me daily because we communicate daily. And she's intense and passionate. And it's good for me. And I have been educated highly. She gives me praise, and that I at least, as a mainstream white boy, will attempt to listen and still not understand. But I'm growing too. Aisha Adams is a co-producer, very creative. Again, she's in charge of the content. I've got to tell a story about Kirby. Kirby was originally on the original cast. This cast has changed several times throughout the process when we started this way back in February. And it was called at that time the Fenneman POV. How many of you know what POV means? I'm just curious. What does it mean? Thank you. But that wasn't the entire population in this room. And that's important and part of the stories as well. But Kirby was originally part of that cast. And you look at Kirby and he's a man. And people are asking me, well, what does he have to do with the Fenneman point of view? This is part of the, also part of the education process for me. We originally started this to be a panel that would talk about various religious perspectives, Muslim, Christian, Jew, Buddhist, agnostic, atheist, because one of the beliefs that I had coming into this is that in this country, religion causes a lot of problems. Puts God, spirit, river of life, whatever, in a box. And we were hoping to have somewhat of a team effort to express all these religious perspectives and how we could all work together and solve a lot of problems that is occurring in this nation. Especially when you have Christianity and politics really running hand in hand from the administration. And it's really poisonous and toxic. We had a wonderful lady that was going to be part of this cast. She was Muslim from Greenville, South Carolina. I'm not saying anything negative about that faith or that religious background, but when that lady found out that Kirby was going to be on the cast, Kirby's gay, she said she couldn't be part of the cast. And I said, that's a deal breaker. I said, we're going to drop religion and we're going to drop you. We're going to keep Kirby. And so Kirby is still with us. And we had a meeting with the cast a couple of weeks ago before the last show, and I learned just by listening to Kirby about all kinds of things. I still don't understand it, but it's been a great education. Can I say one other thing about you?
Go right ahead.
He said, as you drink more and more, what's he going to say now? Kirby was talking about how some of his friends and peers don't considered him to be black. I said, what? He says it's because, one of the reasons is because I speak proper English. I don't sound black. And Kirby's response to that was basically, so if I speak proper English, that doesn't make me black. And so you see, that may not be a big deal to you guys, but it's huge to me because this is stuff that I don't know about. So I'm growing up. Miriam came to us, and one of the things she said on one of the first episodes is that she speaks 3 languages. She is from Morocco, And I'm so glad she's part of the team. And she brings a unique perspective as school teacher, wife, and mother. And she talked about in one episode how she speaks 3 languages. And I had to throw in the block as well as English. And that's important in some parts of this country, that you have to speak English. Isn't that kind of absurd to think that way? But she also speaks French and Arabic. And how she gets a different response when she speaks Arabic as opposed to French. The judgments and the stereotypes that come out of that. So it's been a wonderful education for me. I have a whole lot more to learn. I'm going to hand the mic to Aisha. I'm going to start with Miriam. She's going to talk a little bit about things, and then we're going to move it along. Please ask questions. These are good people, and I'm so glad to be a part of this effort.
Hello, everybody, or I should say bonjour, صباح الخير. My name is Miriam Weber, and like Cliff said, I'm from Morocco. I was born and raised there. I moved here when I was 22. I speak French, Arabic, and English. A little bit of Spanish, I can kind of get around. I am a school teacher. I teach French at Asheville High School. I've been doing that for about 11 years. I'm so excited to have joined this team because I feel like we're such a unique group of people, and there's so many things to be learned about what makes Asheville great and what amazing of a melting pot this is. A lot of people don't know that when you're from Morocco, you're North African, you are African, and I have had a lot of people not understanding that because I'm light skinned, and everybody says, you're not African, you're white, but I'm not. And so it was very, very important to me to explain that to people because that is my culture, that is my roots, my ethnicity, and this is one of the platforms where we can explain that the way people look doesn't really mean anything. You really have to educate yourself and know where do we come from. And showing that we're really all connected and related because we're all human beings. It was very, very exciting for me to work with Aisha and Kirby. Kirby used to be a student of mine, which is even more exciting because I loved him so much as a student, and now he's an adult, so we can hang out, and it's cool. And I love it. I was like, yay, this is the best part. Aisha and I used to work together as high school teachers at Asheville High, and our husbands know each other through music. Eddie is a DJ as well. So we've kind of all reconnected again. And when I saw that I would be on this journey with these people, I just thought, wow, this is not really going to be work. It's just going to be us sitting together, hanging out, talking about stuff that we always talk about, and raising awareness in this community and connecting with these people and educating people about things that they were just not exposed to and didn't know about. So that's why I'm really excited. And I'm really excited for you guys to keep watching. Next week is going to be really fun. Keep watching us, keep liking us, sharing our episodes and supporting us. We love you, we see you, and I hope you see us. Thank you.
Hello. My name is Kirby, Kirby Winter. So, first of all, I just love being on the show. The cast is perfect. Madam Weber was definitely my favorite teacher in high school. Don't tell anybody. But I definitely think this is a really good place for me to share my stories and the things I've been through, because I do come from a very unique background. You know, I'm just like everything. I'm like gay, black, mixed, adopted. What was I gonna say? Oh, like half my family's Jewish, and like the other half is like everything else. Like I just come from this really crazy background, or this really very diverse background. And the thing is this background that I have, it's becoming more and more normal. And I think it's important for me to get my perspective out there because I went through this when it wasn't normal. And there's going to be your struggles and your challenges. And so it's really cool that I'm able to tell the stories and the things that people don't really think about or think that really happen. So I'm really excited to be here. I'm a nursing student. I also work in healthcare. I'm a caregiver. And so I love people and I want to share my perspective and passion with everybody. So, yay!
Hi everybody, I'm Aisha Adams and I get to work with these wonderful people on the set of the Asheville View. I also write the content and work closely with Cliff on the co-production. I am so honored to have the opportunity to learn everything that I'm learning from Cliff, who knows a lot more about mainstream white America than I do. And I so desperately am trying to survive that jungle. In the Nation of Islam, we call that the wilderness of North America. And so I'm always trying to navigate that space. And so it's always good to have good allies to really teach you and show you the way and to be honest and forthright. And I also am really honored to get an opportunity to work with Miriam, who was my coworker at Asheville High. I am most excited about producing the show because I know that there isn't anything like this anywhere else. And to show that there are different kinds of Black. So people might look at my skin and they'll go, okay, so she's regular Black, right? Or, you know, they look at Miriam and may say, oh, she's not Black. And I mean, I've been in heated conversations about Kirby. Kirby's gay, he's not Black. Like, this whole, like, situation of being able to show that, like, our Blackness is beautiful, our Blackness is diverse, our Blackness is profound, and it is so complicated that you cannot wrap your head around it, and you just have to be okay with that, is a really unique opportunity for me. And so being able to co-produce the show the many various types of Blackness, because we are the original. And so because of that, we span across in different ways across the diaspora, and to be able to really show that and to be able to, when I was recruited to Asheville, they came and found me and they said, hey, come teach our children. And I was super excited about that. And when I got here, I felt like I was tricked because there weren't as many, it wasn't as diverse as people said it is. And I don't think that Asheville's diverse. I think it's cosmopolitan. And to have a show where you have 3 different distinct types of Black people in lead roles, and to say this is the Asheville View, sort of calls Asheville on, hey, are you really diverse? There's no other city that can say that they have this, and if our show moves forward, then we can consider Asheville diverse. And so it really is sort of a call to action to say, like, how diverse are you? Are you gonna push up to the forefront 3 different distinct types of diverse Black people whom the world don't even understand yet? And so that's really why I've sunk all of my money, time, and passion into this project. And why I will continue to do that with my friends and continue to grow. So I just appreciate everybody for coming. And we're just gonna eat, but we wanted to open it up for questions. So any questions for any of us? And Dorian, can you take the microphone to whoever may have questions? And that's Dorian, offspring of me.
Okay, so there's a lot of equity and inclusion conversations going on in Asheville right now. A lot of small groups that started up and things like that. How are you going to address that so that Asheville actually starts getting it? Because you and I have talked for a long time now. So how is the View really going to bring this out and show people what real inclusion is?
I hope that that's something that we've already started to do. If everybody will pay attention to during the shirt, equity over everything is the social responsibility of my company, which is just a social movement to show people. He wants to get your shirt. Do you just want to get your shirt? Yeah. Yeah, he wanted to get your shirt. So to me, one of the things that I often think about as a marketer, like, oh, I wonder if the Black community could be rebranded, right? Like, what if we just took all of the lies, all of the fake historical things that was taught about our history, and we took it away, and we rebranded it, and we showed something else, right? I hope that that's what the Asheville View is doing when we bring in somebody like a Sarah Benoit, and we have a serious conversation about social media, or that's what we're doing when we bring in someone like Matt, who comes in and talks about pay inequity, and she talks about, so this show next week, we have a career specialist that comes in and talks about, what do you do when they hand you a disrespectful job offer and the pay is wrong? What's the correct word to use, how to use it? Like, those are the things that we're doing, and we're having those conversations out loud, and we're showing, like, we're educated, we are showing a different type of Blackness, especially for media in Asheville. Sometimes I often feel like we don't get media in Asheville as African Americans unless it's the urban news or it's a tragedy or something negative. And so for us to be featured in AVL today and it to be a positive story about the Asheville View and what we're doing, and we're talking about tech, and we're talking about health, and we're talking about career and all of the positive things, I hope that that shows people like there is a deepness to being Black, and it goes far beyond what they've seen before.
Any more questions?
No, y'all gotta ask Kirby some questions.
Uh-oh.
So where do we get the shirt?
You can get the shirt at equityovereverything.org. Equityovereverything.org.
Okay, I'll do it again.
So, Kirby, I was really involved with the renewal of the Castro in San Francisco. I worked intimately with the gay community there. We started the Human Endowment for Human Empowerment there, the Foundation for Human Empowerment. And I lost like 78 friends in 1 year to AIDS. How are you, as a Black man who's gay in Asheville, going to address this community and show us something different? Because, you know, Aisha and I have talked a lot. She told me one day that I live too far under the rainbow, but remember that? And so I just really want to understand, like, what part are you playing in the equity development of Asheville?
I'm definitely playing into the equity of Asheville by simply being me 100% all the time. Showing people that it is okay to be yourself. Showing straight men that you don't hit on them all the time, or you're not a pervert. You just be yourself all the time, and you be the best part of yourself. I think that we need to also bring awareness, like you said, you lost 78 friends to AIDS. I think that we need to bring awareness to the fact that it's not a death sentence anymore. And I think that if we get rid of the stigma and explain, did you know if you start your treatment, if you get tested and you start your treatment ASAP, you can get down to where it won't show up on a test, and to that point you can't actually transmit to anybody. And to eliminate the fear around that word, that's the best thing we can do for the community, especially now when it's so treatable and so manageable, and you can get to the point where you can't even share it with a partner. So I think that we definitely need to address HIV, STDs and the stigma around them, because we have the medicine and technology to where it's really not as bad as it used to be. So
I also think it's important that to make a platform that healthy sex practices is for everybody, not just for the gay community.
And Kevin, thank you for bringing that up. That's another really important thing because I believe, and please correct me if I'm wrong, I believe the #1 new receivers of HIV are actually African American women. And it's because of the homophobia within the African American community due to typically religion. And that needs to be addressed as well because you have the down low culture, DL culture as they call it, and you know, they'll have their wives and their kids and everything, and then they'll go out for a poker night with the guys, but they're doing a different type of poker. And, and it's really increasing the rates of STDs to women, not knowing that they have it, to, yeah, we definitely need to bring awareness to that.
Any more questions?
Sarah.
I wanted to ask another question to Kirby. So one of the things I've noticed as part of the queer community is we have an interesting split between the older queers and the younger queers. And you know, I'm 43, so I sit right in the middle realm of like really respecting people that are older than me because I know I would have had nowhere near the freedoms that I have if they had not pushed the envelope. But then, you know, my wife is transgender and we are a lot into the non-binary, genderqueer kind of world, and there's like a lot of misunderstandings between the older and younger generations, and I'm just curious if like you have thoughts on that, about how to bridge that gap.
Yes. I think the biggest issue or gap causing thing between the younger and the older people of the LGBT community is the lack of respect that I feel like my generation does not have, and we don't realize that the older generation, they paved the way for us to be exactly who we are. And I think that that is the #1 barrier right there, is the, you know, we go in and we're making fun of the 60-year-old gay guy at the bar for being at the bar, but we don't realize that he paved the way for our generation to be able to be at a gay bar. And I think that that is the #1 thing. It's just a lack of respect. And it's like, you know, you don't know what this person has been through who's older than you, who is LGBTQ. You don't understand what it was then. You know, I mean, you can almost look at it, not necessarily as a race thing, but it's almost like, you know, if you, like, you know how it was to be African American 50 years ago? No, I have no idea what it was like, but they paved the way. And it's the same thing in the LGBTQ community. It's like, we don't have respect, our generation. I notice that all the time, and it really bothers me, so.
It's probably really important about education and Stonewall riots and drag queens from the 70s having to wash their faces off, you know, and coming out with their own armor and their identity. And it's really about telling our youth about what's really going on and letting our youth be the leaders and be in the forefront, or like being the people on the front lines to guide our generations really to becoming more accepting and understanding that everyone comes from something, because being gay was all about equal rights. And then once we were able to get married, then it became, there's a whole bunch of inner community things that are going on within the gay community alone that have a lot of problems. And I think
homelessness. Like, why
yeah,
do we use this shit? We're always talking about like marriage equality, right? What about like youth living off the street?
And the gay community has, like you said, so many of its own issues, such as
the Adonis effect.
Racism and sexism in the gay community is really, really big. You know, what were those shirts going around, guys, that said, no fats, no femmes, no blacks in the gay community? And it's like, wow, really? We're gonna do this? So, it's a big issue.
And I think on the show we started addressing the issue. We do have at least one show we recorded where Dr. Norlands goes into deep detail from a medical perspective of what parents should be doing for their transgender kids when their kids want to transition. So we've started to like tackle these issues. We're 8 episodes in, and we've tackled stereotypes, and this recording, I think we really got in depth. We talked to someone who talked about how even just changing the way they dressed affected their lives tremendously as a queer person. So I think the show is starting to address those issues more and more, and I think over the next 4 episodes, you all will really start to see Kirby in raw form addressing these issues. Any more questions?
Thank you. First, I want to say thank you guys for just having this platform here. And hello, everyone else. My name is Tiffany Flunnery Debelow, and I'm just really glad to be here, and this just feels right. My question is to the entire panel. I love the all-inclusiveness that I'm hearing and receiving, and I just wanted to know, what is the bigger picture of the view, of Asheville view? Where do you see yourselves at? And I would just even say 6 months from now.
So, big announcement. I was gonna wait until the end, but starting next month, we will be here at the historic block off Biltmore doing live tapings. And so one of the things we're gonna do is really open up this conversation to the community. This was never meant to be a one-way conversation. You all are not our audience, you are our community, and we are very clear on that. But we needed to close up, go within, gel as a community. We needed to understand what we wanted to do as a team. We needed to understand what Cliff needed from us. We needed to understand all those things. And now, Cliff and I are really working hard to bring this here. And we want to open up the conversation here. And we want on the Asheville View Night to be the hottest night in Asheville, where people come and they talk. Sarah and I had a very passionate conversation after one of our events the other day, and she talked about her frustration with City Council. And I need to be in a space where she can talk about her frustrations out loud in front of community where people will remember. So when they're having a Jen and Kirby and they're listening to Sarah rant, they will remember. And when they hit the polls, we want to make a difference. We want to be the most influential space in Asheville when it comes to what are African Americans talking about, but what is the liberal community talking about? Because our show is not just an African American show, it's just an equitable show. For hundreds of years, TV has left out fat Black women. Here I am. For hundreds of years, they've made Miriam look Middle Eastern when she's African. For hundreds of years, they have told Kirby that he can be the star on TV, but when it comes to real life, they will murder, abuse, rape, and mistreat him. And we're not taking that anymore. And so we're bringing this to the forefront. We're coming in. We're gonna have a community conversation. It's gonna be live. It's gonna be once a month. It's gonna be here. We're gonna invite the mayor. We're gonna invite the sheriff. We're gonna invite the city council, and we're gonna have a real conversation. And we're gonna call them to action. And we're gonna mean what we say, and we're gonna say what we mean. And we need your help with that. Like at the end of the day, everyone in this room who says, I've talked to you, or everyone in this room, you know, they do not wanna let us on TV. You know, they do not want to see us win, because if we win, everybody wins, right? We really have the ability to break down barriers and change situations and get the same people out of office. We have the ability to tell the truth. We have the ability to reach thousands of people. More than 20,000 people have seen the show, and Asheville may be number 1 in the ratings, but we have strong number 2s and 3s. We have people reaching out to us because Asheville is a leader in this region, right? So we have people reaching out to us saying, how do we bring this to our town? What do we do? So we're asking Asheville to, number 1, financially support us. You know, we've been able to record 8 shows. We've done it. Everybody knows the production is expensive. You can look at it and tell that this is not a rinky-dink production. And Cliff is a professional. His crew is a professional. Our makeup artists are professional. Because we realize that that's what it takes to break down barriers, right? Like I couldn't just do my face and get on the camera and say what I have to say because it's not gonna do the same thing. So we're asking for financial support, we're asking for physical support, we're asking for you to join the conversation. And so there's lots of ways to join the conversation. The first way to join the conversation is Facebook. Leave a comment, tell us what you're thinking, share, talk about the events, talk about the show, share the show. We produce the show every Monday. Every Monday about 11 o'clock, the show is up, share it, talk about it, push it to people, especially when you have an encounter with them and we address it on the show. The second thing you can do is become a fave. Become a friend of the Asheville View, which is $100. If you become a friend of the Asheville View, you will get exclusive content. You will get opportunities to get some of our content first. And eventually, we hope to have a live streaming sort of behind the scenes just for you. But there's cups and t-shirts and mugs and all those kinds of things. So definitely become a fave. Number 3, help get funding. When all the people in here, I know you, you're important people, you're smart people, you know people. Talk to the businesses that you work with, talk to your clients, talk to your own self, because some of you are business owners, and support an episode of the Asheville View. We have advertising rates that start as low as $300. So this is not a ploy to take everybody's money and run, it's a ploy to open up the conversation, get some equity going, and to really create a change. A lot of you may not know this, but this is one of the most historic African American spaces in the United States. Not in North Carolina, not in the South, in the entire United States. And we should be in here and we should be taking forth the message that our ancestors left. And even though we might not all have the same skin tone, we come from the same earth and they're all of our ancestors. And that message is freedom for everybody. And so until everybody is liberated, not just LGBTQ, not just fat people, not just queer people, not just, like until everybody, until, you know, we get rid of the anti-Semitism, until we get rid of all of it, like nobody's free and we are all in danger. So until we all can just really get along and push forth the conversation, we're gonna be stuck. So this is our little push into the world to say, hey, we wanna make a change. And we hope you will join us.
I just wanted to know, are there easy access ways to contribute using our debit cards?
Yeah, you can do it right over the computer when we get ready to eat. I'll just walk over and I can help anybody who wants to do that. You can do it right over on the ablview.com, on Facebook.
Hello everyone, Beth Ivy Craig, Sister Soul Sessions, psychotherapist here in Asheville. What I was wondering is when we talk about community, with the recent events that have happened in the Black community, just looking at the block. I remember when the block really was the block, and just walking up through here kind of made me sick to my stomach. In your conversations that you're going to have around the community, will those conversations include mothers who have lost their children, the Black and brown mothers, the gentrification that is happening in Asheville? Will you address the lack of cultural competence that is rapid? It's just crazy in Asheville. Will you address those things?
We want to definitely address all of those things. First of all, just taking a moment to honor the fact that you are here, who also was in the schools with me and Miriam. So we all have had this opportunity to work with the kids, and we love the kids. And Cam can speak to this. I felt like the block martyr for some time. I don't know if you know, but the building across the street. So this building used to have about 56 African American owned businesses before urban renewal. That's why I feel like it's important to have the conversations here, because I feel like it's subversive in the first place. In the second space, this building over here, the Eagle Market Street, the Delgado building, there are 64 apartments. 32 of them are deeply affordable, meaning that those rates are below Section 8 rates. So making sure that like that's the work I was doing before coming here. I served on the board of the YMI, and I have worked tirelessly on this street, even down at Eagle Market Street with the IDA, and making sure that Black-owned businesses and minority-owned businesses get grants. Like, it's a part of what we do on this street. And so it's important to me that we address all those things, especially with the recent tragedy that just happened yesterday in the community, well, the day before yesterday in the community. And it's like, I want to address those issues. We have to engage the community, because it's really the community needs to want to address those issues. And what we do as hosts is push those issues forward. So we can't be the ones to speak on those issues because it's disrespectful. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not here, like, I can't save the world. What I can do is provide a platform and a space. So I use my marketing skills and Kirby's beauty and Miriam's and Miriam's intelligence to be able to push those conversations forward. And definitely, like, we're always, anybody who wants to come on the show, it's easy to do. You can fill it out from your phone. We will be in contact with you. We're always looking for people to be on the show to bring up their issues of what they want to talk about. But we also are we are culturally competent. And what we understand is that we have to respect people's boundaries, and we want to have conversations when the community is ready to have those conversations. And so this is not a news show, and not by any means. We're not highlighting news, and we're not always going to be bringing that negative piece up front. What we're going to be highlighting is what our community wants us to highlight. So when we go into a community and they say, hey, we really want to see this is what we're going to be doing. And not just saying, oh, because that makes for a good story. And we know if we talk about what happened this weekend, it'll go viral. But is that really what's best for our community? I'm not the person to say that. And so I want to hear from the community leaders and the people who are deeply affected before I move on that story. That's where my thinking is. Do y'all agree with that?
Yes.
Any more questions before we eat and dance and drink?
I have one more thing to say. Sure. I think it's very important to have the platform that you guys are delivering, but to also, thank you, have some appreciation of the white mainstream audience that is supportive of our communities, and give them some thanks for being supportive, because not always you have that. So I think that that's something that should be acknowledged and people should be reminded of. I have a lot of friends that aren't African American or Black or Latino or adopted or Jewish or all those things, and they sometimes feel like they don't have the right to say anything, because if they do, then they're challenged as racist or as unaccepted or anti-feminist or whatever. So I think it's really important to remind people that we do have followers and supporters that aren't Black, that are trying the same effort for what your platform is right now.
Thank you.
I hope that we honestly, I don't even think the majority of our audience is African American. I think we're just saying we're sharing diverse African perspectives. But I mean, if you look around, like, really, who is our audience? And we're grateful that you're here, and we appreciate you for listening. And we appreciate you. So thanks for coming. Let's eat.